Welcome to Prime Life. We call it Retirement 2.0. Leave each episode with tips and new ideas to help you navigate retirement in our new age. It's your time. Make it count.
Welcome back to the Prime Life podcast, where we explore the ideas, innovations, and people shaping the future of longevity. I'm Mary Crean. If you're interested in the future of how to save for retirement, longevity, innovation, and building solutions that truly meet people where they are, this is the episode you won't want to miss. I have two illustrious guests today, Erica and Karen, and they're co-founders of Lustre, a platform advocating for retired professional women. Women are now new to retirement, and we plan to do things differently. I love that line. Without further ado, Karen, let's start with you. Please tell our audience a little bit about yourself and how you've come to creating Lustre along with Erica. And then Erica, we can go over to you.
Good morning, Mary, and thank you very much for having us on your show. Yes, Eric and I co-founded Lustre about 10 years ago. We both worked at very high levels in the legal profession in New York City. We were very successful. We loved our jobs. Everything was great. And then we came to the time when we had to retire. And we said, well, this will be fun. We're going to do all kinds of cool things. And we ran into a brick wall because nobody wanted to hear from retired women because we were old and done and that's it. And we thought, well, this is really odd. Why is this happening? And after we did a bunch of research, we said, well, it's happening because nobody sees who we are. As soon as they hear we're retired, they see old ladies in rocking chairs wearing schmatas and they're not seeing us. So we better do something about that. So we started Lustre. Erica?
Well, that's pretty much says it all. Mary, thank you very much. I too, as Karen said, was a lawyer and we had skills and we thought we would use them. And we were pretty surprised when people said, no, thanks. We tried to give our skills away for free and they still said no, thanks. And that really sent us up the wall, really, of saying, how could it be that one day we're on top of the world and the next day we're done and nobody wants to talk to us anymore? So that's really born of anger, frustration, a little depression. Those are the emotions that we had. And then we kind of got our act together and said, this isn't who we are. We can fix this. And so we are trying to do that.
Well, I love what you've just said. And unfortunately, I wasn't completely surprised. I have heard this from other individuals, especially women. However, I would also like to add, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. My guess is you also have seen and see a great need for what you do. So I would love for you each to talk about Lustre a little bit more in detail and how you've grown it since you first developed it and really the solutions that you are providing for individuals.
Well, the main solution is to change people's minds, not just the people who are not us, but starting with us. And so we wanted to show pictures and words about who we actually are, what we really look like, what we are really doing, what we really want to do. And once we changed our own minds, then we all came out and said, okay, guys, look at us. This is not who you think we are. We're really important, cool people who you should value. So get with the program.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that it was kind of three things. We said we need to feel good about ourselves. And so the imagery that was out there didn't make us feel good about ourselves at all. As Karen said, the schmata kind of image was not who we were. So we wanted to show people that that's not who we were. So we would feel, as Karen says, better about ourselves and others would feel better about us because image and identity work together. I think the second thing we wanted to do was create a new intellectual framework for what older women want from retirement that was different from the past, perhaps, but put words to it, not just pictures, words as well. And the third is we wanted to bring us together. We had dispersed we kind of left our jobs and we all went to wherever we went, some on boats and some on planes and some south and some north and whatever. And we wanted to find a place where we could come together again, just like we had when we started working in the 70s.
Since I met both of you, I've been talking you up to others. I'm like, I am excited. I'm going to talk to these two former high power attorneys who are doing amazing work. And you're former in that you don't do that specifically anymore, but you're still very high power women in New York City. And that in itself, I just love your energy that you bring to the table. And I think that it's so important to give others a little bit of that support and confidence, because certainly when you went through that, getting a little angry, a little, however you described it, both of you are obviously very determined individuals. And I'd like to believe it's because partly your personalities to begin with, and also what you've experienced in the workplace when you did practice law. What have you learned since you've started Lustre? What are some of the lessons that you've learned that you haven't shared?
Karen?
Well, there are many. There are many lessons. One really interesting lesson we've learned is we loved our jobs. We were sorry to lose our jobs, and we really wanted to do something very active and purposeful when we retired. However, there's a whole contingent of people out there who did not love their jobs so much,
Right.
and they're thrilled to be retired, and they think we're crazy. So that was interesting. But we are pursuing what we want to pursue, and we've learned that there are very many different ways of doing it, and that many of our members are doing extraordinary things that we find hard to believe. I mean, as you and Erica alluded to, we all had to fight very hard, people of our vintage, to get into the workforce, to stay in the workforce. Everyone thought we'd get married after a couple of years and leave and have babies. We did get married and have babies, but we stayed in the workforce. And we loved the companionship of other women like us. And as Erica said, of course, once you're retired, it's kind of isolated and lonely for a while. So one of our objectives was to make sure that people could find each other and speak to each other and share the drama that is retirement. It is a drama. It is, part of it is painful. Part of it, you mourn your past. You have to rediscover or recreate your identity. One of our key pieces of advice is make yourself a calling card. It's really simple. It's really, and it sounds kind of old school, which I guess it is. But when you meet someone and you say, yes, this is how you can reach me, and give them a card, it makes you feel better. It gives them a way to reach you. And so that is something important. Another thing we did, because of what we decided to do, was to get an office. So a place that was not our home, to sit and be together and talk about what we were doing, and have that physical movement from home to office to symbolize, once again, we are out there. We're not staying at home. Erica, we've learned a lot. So talk about other things.
I'll talk about other things. I guess the first thing I'd say is the importance of the word yes. I think we always knew that, yes always plays a certain kind of funny role when you're a lawyer. But in this world, saying yes opens up amazing doors in two ways. One, you say yes to things that you're in your head and your experience say, I'm not sure, or maybe I can't make it. If you just say yes, we've met amazing people by Karen and I sitting in our office saying, do we really want to go? And then we say, that was amazing. So it's kind of, yes is a really good word in that way, but it's also in a funny kind of way. We never really did anything as lawyers that we didn't know how to do. I mean, we knew how to do what we did for a living. And if there was something new to learn, we learned it. I mean, we did a deep dive and learned it. This world of the internet and SRO and blah, 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 blah. I mean, we are open. We go into it saying we don't know anything, but we'll try it anyway. We failed massively. I mean, we could spend a whole hour, Mary, talking about all the great failures. I mean, we fail every day about something because we don't get it. We don't understand it. It's impossible to understand. We throw up our hands. So saying yes to things that we don't know anything about has been another side of that. And accepting failure all the time, which we kind of didn't. I mean, if you failed in the lower courts, you'd get them on appeal. It was like failure was not really an option. And I think the third thing probably is that it's a journey. It's unlike like some people and unlike others, we had long careers pretty much in the same place doing the same thing. As we've aged and grown over the last 10 years, we recognize that we've changed and we want different things and we think about different things differently. So it's not I'm going to sit down, I'm going to retire, I'm going to figure this out, here's what I'm going to do. It's not like that. It's as you get older, you go through stages and you adjust. It's a journey. It's not a straight line.
I couldn't agree more. A couple of things I want to comment on. First of all, as a former entrepreneur, having some successes and some failures for sure. I remember because it was early on in my career, I was embarrassed by those failures. So I didn't want people to know because then I thought, well, maybe they'll think that I'm not very smart. But the bottom line is, if you talk to anyone who's been in business for themselves, or if they said yes to things they didn't really know about, of course you're going to have failure. And that's a good thing because it helps us pivot and learn more of what we don't want to do or what we want to do. But I really love what both of you have said, especially Erica, your last point about saying yes. I have had people look at me like I've had 5 eyeballs. It's funny because I've almost gone a little bit the other way. When I was an entrepreneur, I said yes to everything because I was like, I need to have my tentacles everywhere. And you never know who I'm going to run into or meet and whatever. And I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little bit more protective of that. But I do agree with you, and I believe in my heart that saying yes to things can open up new doors. Like you said, I don't know if I really want to go to that event or something. And then you go and you have a blast and you meet new people and you think of things differently. And I think something that I believe that's changed. We have AI and we have all these different platforms and it's overwhelming. There's a lot of noise out there. And I think sometimes as women who have been strong in the workforce, raised families, still there, we're persistent, we're resilient. We think we have to know everything before we get in the game. And I think what I'm hearing from both of you is that you've learned also to accept that it's okay and it doesn't mean anything less. And I am very sure that you have been an inspiration to individuals who would maybe approach that with trepidation. And also, by the way, having a card, yeah, it's old school, but it's really about your brand. And it's okay because we still find that the old school methods, what I call the traditional forms of marketing, I'm going to call that, those things are working because people get so inundated with everything online. So I think what you're doing is pretty cool. And sometimes it is, what's old is now new. And I think that's one of those things. Do you think you've achieved your goals?
In part. I mean, it's always a moving target, of course,
Yes.
these days. It's a funny thing to be, and I'm sure a lot of people would empathize with this. I mean, Karen and I spent careers advocating for other people, and our goals were really their goals. And so we never really measured our own success by whether we made the people around us and the people that hired us happy. Yeah. I'm maybe not exactly happy, but we convinced them that that was as happy as they were ever going to be.
Less unhappy. Yes.
Yeah. And you help them solve their problems.
Yes.
As lawyers, right?
Right. And so now we're in this kind of funny place. I mean, I'm so envious in a way that you were an entrepreneur in your early part of your career, because I can imagine, and I would ask you 1,000 questions, Mary, about how that experience has helped you in your non-entrepreneurial career. But I can see how it would, because our goal was really to make women like us feel it's hard, but you're going to get through it.
Mm.
You're not alone. There are thousands of women, millions maybe. I mean, I think there are 20 million career women that are retiring. I mean,
Wow.
it's a
Yeah.
huge population, right?
Yes.
And yet we all felt alone. We all felt, are
Yes.
we the only people in the world that don't know how to do this?
Mm.
And it turns out, of course, not. We had a call last night with a lot of our members, and everybody was so happy to just be together to say, I can say in this group, I feel terrible. You know, I'm panicked. I don't like this. And so that was our goal. And we looked around at that call last night and said, this is cool. We did this. So that was a goal. Our long-term goals are, you know, if we could get the membership big enough to be able to spend more time on the outward facing stuff and less time on the running the business, which I mean, we're not excellent at. That's an understatement, Karen. We're not excellent at this.
It's a process. It's a journey.
Yes, yes.
That would be a goal. We haven't met that yet.
Oh, you're going to. Karen, how about you?
Of course, I agree with that. And I think one of the external goals, which is to create a bigger membership, is to make that membership more of a force in the world. We have definitely changed some people's minds about who we are and what we're capable of. But also, definitely, there's a long way to go. And we would love to be able to have greater influence in especially the world of people who are still functioning either in business or nonprofit or whatever they're doing, to bring to their attention more forcefully that we are an asset that is very underutilized, and that's dumb. You should use us. We want to be used. We do not want to sit in a rocking chair in a field watching the grass grow. You should be using the vast experience that we all have as a population. And so that is a goal that is always going to be moving, but we are aiming at that. We did have a lovely affirmation of what we were doing about a month ago. We had a conference in New York City, and we gathered a bunch of women who were like us. And everyone was just so happy to be there and to listen to very high-end women talking about things of relevance to our population. And it was just a joyous affair. And we thought, well, this is great. So, you know, that was really good. So we want to have more of those, although it was the most exhausting thing we've ever done. And to say we didn't know what we were doing would be an understatement, but it all worked out beautifully.
Yeah.
So we'll do that again too.
Sounds like the passion and the energy, but I can totally relate to that because it really was an event, and events are exhausting, especially when you have high hopes for them. You said a couple of things that I would like to dig in a little bit deeper. You talked about membership. Can you tell us a little bit about how that works? And I think you've also, as lawyers, but as marketing women, that's what I'm hearing. Like, what do some of those personas look like? Like, what do some of those individuals look like in terms of they would be a good fit and they would be just so excited to be a part of what you've created?
Our members, we have about 3,000. They're now paying members.
Wow.
And our members are just remarkable. What they get from us is the community, the ability to speak with each other and gather in various locations. The membership is across the country and in many other places in the world. And we have online events where we have eminent speakers, and we have a weekly news show done by a retired newscaster who's incredible. And we have a weekly newsletter with forward-thinking posts in it and other things. So that's what they get. One of the members, for example, just to give you 2 seconds of this, she was brought up in a small town in Texas. When she was 16, she said to her mother, I want to go to New York and learn how to act. And the most astonishing part of this story really is her mother said, okay. So she did, and couldn't make a living. So she left and went back. She went to a career in actual marketing and became, star marketer. And then she retired and she went back to her passion, the theater. She started writing little plays. And just to cut the long story short, just before she was 70, she had a play produced on Broadway.
Wow.
So that's the kind of members we have.
But a
It's
lot of
just
our
incredible.
members are, I mean, if you, that avatar of, who would we,
Yeah.
are the women that worked, had careers and retired for one reason or another, and now are not done, for
Yeah.
sure, not done, want to be part of the world. They continue to be curious. They continue to be adventuresome. They continue to be intrepid, right? But they're not exactly sure how to find who they are and what their purpose is in this new paradigm that they're experiencing, because it's really, really new for most of us. We've never not had some kind of structure to anchor us, whether it was school, whether it was work, whether it was family, whatever it was an anchor and a way into a community. This is a new paradigm. So the women that we are targeting are the ones that want community and value the community of like-minded women that are interested in, are fearless in the sense that they want to do the work to go find it. So we're not built for the women that want to sit back and play golf, which is a fine thing if that makes you happy, but
Exactly.
that's not Lustre.
Yeah.
Lustre is for women that really want to continue to be relevant and part of the world.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like more gas left in the tank
Yes.
to do more, maybe to do different, but it sounds like lifelong learners. Love the story you told, Karen, about that woman who went into acting and then, okay, didn't work out, came back, became a marketer, and then here she is, play on Broadway. Like, that's extremely cool. And I think what I'm hearing is the women that are part of your community, they love that like-mindedness, inspiration. I think both of you said something interesting, which I can totally relate to. And I think many other women can. Really, as we've gotten older, those in retirement, those maybe not in retirement, even some younger women, a lot of times we're always promoting other people, and I use the word promote because my profile is that I'm great at promoting other people. I am not great at promoting myself. I do feel success when I've created impact. And to kind of riff off of what you were saying, the impact of accomplishing for others, whether it's in a company or in my past, companies that I created many years ago. And so I can see, even in my own journey, that creates a different paradigm, as you said, as you are stepping into something new. And, I used to say when I was in the health and wellness space, fitness is a journey, not a destination. And I feel the same way about what I'm hearing from both of you, even though we're not talking about fitness movement, we're talking about lots of other things that relate. And I would guess that a lot of your members are also physically very active as well, because we know that connection with the mind and the body, how powerful that is, especially as we age. Where do you hope to be 10 years from now? Nassau insurance products are issued by Nassau Life and Annuity Company of Hartford, Connecticut, Nassau Life Insurance Company, East Greenbush, New York, or Nassau Life Insurance Company of Kansas, Overland Park, Kansas. Subsidiaries of Nassau Financial Group. Products are not available in all areas. Policyholder counts are for all Nassau companies as of September 30th, 2022, and are subject to change.
Where do we hope to be? Well, we hope to have 20 million members. That would be a good thing, don't you think?
I do.
And we would love to have conferences like the one we had in many places. Obviously, we couldn't do it all, but we would set it up and do as many as we could because we really enjoyed having all these people together. So we would like to see ourselves bigger and with more force as a mission, as a program. So I think that's a key objective.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think we'd like to see the women that we are talking about not taking over the world, because it's not, we had our time. At least I think so. But being there to help. I mean, Karen has a favorite phrase that she uses all the time, that the young run fast, but the older know the shortcuts.
Mhm.
And I think we can be helpful in that journey, and sharing our wisdom as the next generation of women
Mhm.
come up and retire. We can be the role models that we're used to being, and be role models for this coming generation and generations to come, and our daughters.
Mhm.
So I think there's a lot of work to be done, but most importantly, I think the human connection these days, and the civility of our community, and the level of discourse
Mhm.
is something we all grew up with, and something we miss desperately.
Mhm.
Finding a community that behaves in that way and respects each other, and has common feelings about some things and not common feelings about other things, but we're able to talk about them, is really special.
Mhm. Yeah, that ability to agree to disagree, and just, I think you hit all the check boxes in my mind in terms of what I experienced. And I really love what you said about, modeling for the women coming up. I shared with you, I also have a daughter. She happens to be a lawyer. And I know I'm going to be talking about both of you because you're very inspirational. And it's so important because even as we talk about on Prime Life aging, but we talk about, retirement, but also our financial freedoms that we want to set up, because that obviously, or should start way before perhaps some of us have thought about it in the past, because we are living longer. Not everyone is, but longevity is a risk nowadays, and not necessarily in a bad way, and want to make sure that we have planned appropriately for that conversation. As we come to the close of our conversation today, we always ask our guests one question. So I'd like to ask each one of you. Obviously, hugely successful in your lawyering, you can really get up every day and do anything that you want. Why do you do what you do with Lustre? What's your why?
I guess that's a little bit complicated, but for me at least, purpose is very important in my life. As you've alluded to, we're living in a time, for the first time in history, of people living as long as we're living.
Mhm.
And to make it healthy and happy, I need purpose. And so that is why, to me, this is a very important purpose, which I had no thought about when I was a lot younger. But older women, I think, are a force. And so my purpose is to put them on the map. And that's why I do it.
Oh, I love that. How about you, Erica?
I agree with that. I would say that that is first and foremost in a lot of ways, because we're about impact and imprint. But I think secondarily, or maybe equally, is the community. I think that having some center that gives you the fulcrum to meet people. I mean, obviously, having our partnership is key to this.
Mm.
If I had to do it alone, I don't think I would or could, notwithstanding the importance of the purpose. But the foundational relationship that we have that enables us to go out and widen that, is the people part of this, to me, is priceless, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would say that both of you are a dynamic duo. And I would also say that when you first started this, what you experienced, I think that's your superpower or your superpowers. So I just want to give you a nod to that. If individuals want to get in touch with you, what's the best way? We'll put everything in the show notes.
We have a email called info at Lustre, LUSTRE.net, and that will reach both of us.
And our website is www.lustre, Lustre, like the British.net.
Well, thank you, Karen, Erica, and also a tip of the hat to Harry for connecting us.
Absolutely.
Amazing gentleman. Love his book. Your next
He's
years
great.
are your best years. Did I get that right? I hope, Harry, I got that right. And I really thank him because I wouldn't have otherwise met you. And I am very excited for you for what's ahead. I can't wait to hear what those numbers are even 6 months from now. So we're definitely going to stay in touch. To our guests, thanks for listening and for being with us and spending your very, very valuable time on another episode of the Prime Life podcast. Everyone have a great day.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
And we'll get that answer after a brief word from our commercial sponsors.
NASA is always working harder to be your carrier of choice. We offer insurance products that can help you meet your retirement goals, such as protecting your savings, securing lifetime income, or paying for healthcare costs. We're dedicated to providing best-in-class service and are keeping things simple, and we'll have your back. We have around 400,000 policyholders and contract holders and have been doing this for a long time, 170 years. But we remain humble enough to always try to improve. For more information, visit nfg.com.